Hey everybody, I'm Garcia, and today I'm taking a look at a resource management and worker placement game with a very strange theme, that is Demon Worker. In this game, the players are all power brokers in hell, and you are hiring different workers, different demons, and sending them out to different locations to work for you, to gather resources. You are then going to turn those resources into evil points. Those are the victory points, evil points, and ultimately try to achieve all of your goals so that you come out ahead and have the most evil points, winning the game. It's a fairly straightforward worker placement game, but it does get kind of mathy towards the end of the entire event. So let me give you a look at how it all works together, just a brief overview. We'll come on back after that, and I'll give you some more thoughts about it. The game's going to be played over 5 rounds, which are going to be tracked on this board here, as well as the players' scores on that track. But I'm going to leave this off the screen for now so I can show you the locations up close. These are places where you can send your workers to get you different goods, different resources, different abilities. And so each player is going to start with two humans, some resources, one of these goal cards out of 2. You pick the one you want to keep, and a hand of demon workers that you can either be dealt or you can draft. If you're a player who's already played the game before, then you should probably go ahead and draft them. If you're just learning it, you can just grab a hand of them and you're good to go. So, on your turn, or each round rather, the first thing you do is you get the supply phase, in which you're going to get a few new things. That's based on turn order. So for example, if I'm first player during the game, during the first round, I'm going to get 3 food, as you can see there. If I am, once the round is over and this passes to the next player, then if I am second player, I am going to get 3, and I get 1 victory point. Third player gets that. Fourth player gets that. So depending on where you are in the turn order, you are going to get something different. Second part is actually sending your people out to work for you. When you send them out, you have to pay them their cost, so they will work for you. And so let's say I've got 3 of these, 1, 2, 3. And so if I want to send someone out, I'm going to pay that cost, in this case food for the human, and then I pick where I want to send them and I send them there. If there is any other player's pieces there, or really any pieces at all there, I have to pay another 2 food for every other token that's already on that spot, okay? And so let's take that back, and let me show you what the locations are in 1 second. But basically, once everybody has sent out all the people they want or can, then the turn is going to be over. You are going to do a cleanup phase, advance to the next round, pass those turn order tokens, and begin the next one, unless you've played all 5 rounds, in which case the game just ends. So, what do the locations out here do? If you go here to the human realm, you are going to get these tokens that represent sacrifice. Sacrifice tokens, you get 3. If you go here, you get 2 weapons. If you go here, you get 1 gem, 4 food. Those are the more common resource locations. You'll get all the 4 resources in the game in varying quantities. These 3 allow you to trade something in to get victory points and possibly something else. So for example, over here, 4 sacrifice gets you 2 victory points and 2 weapons. Here, 3 weapons gets you 4 victory points and 1 gem. And here, 2 gems, which are very hard to come by, get you 7 victory points and 3 sacrifice. Then the ones at the bottom are going to manipulate a couple of other things. Well, this one here is pretty straightforward. You just get one of each of those 3, no gem, one of each of the other ones. This one lets you draw 2 more of these cards and keep one of them, as well as, optionally, you can trade things for other things. And they're all list them right there, how much something's worth in comparison to something else. This one here lets you hire a new demon worker. We'll come back to that. And then this one, that's this. This one lets you hire a new demon worker. And then this one, the trash dump, gets you 2 food, but you don't pay the penalty if there's other players there. And so if you cannot afford to go here, then you can always choose to go to the trash dump there and get the food you need to oftentimes pay your workers. So let's go back to this one here, hiring new demons. This is more workers. But the workers in this game are also different from one another. Now, the humans have no powers whatsoever, but if I go there with my human, so let's say I'm going to take a turn, and in fact, I'm going to start right there with that. I'm going to send this out here. I have to pay a food for him to work, and then I can hire a new demon worker. I'm going to hire this one, Medusa. Now, Medusa has two things here along the side. The top one is the hiring cost. The bottom one is the working cost. To hire this one, I need to pay one of these red gems. So I'll go ahead and pay that. And she does not work right now. At the beginning of the next round, however, I would give it one of those tokens, and then I may choose to deploy that one as just one of my other workers. When I deploy this one, in this case, it says it takes 2 food. And if it goes to that tile there, which is this one, then I get 2 red gems. That's her power. So again, all of the demon workers here have different abilities. This one says that when it is deployed, anywhere it goes, I'll get to draw one of these. We have the fanatic here. When they go to the human realm, I'm going to get 2 more of the yellow tokens there. This one has no special power, but you get to deploy it for free. I don't have to pay it to work. To hire it, I need 2 red gems to make it work. That's free. And they all have a few different things like that. This one makes me a victory point every time I deploy it anywhere. And so those are the kinds of things you are going to find in that stack. The game's going to continue with tons of resource management, trying to understand what you want to keep, how you want to spend it all. You are also trying to satisfy these goals, which are going to list something you need, and then a number of victory points down here. But basically, at the end of the 5th round, you are going to score up what you've your total and see who the winner is. So at that point, you would already have had, most likely, some score on the score track over here. Then you are going to check if you qualify for any of these, and you can choose to use these on those or on other things. For every one of these you complete, you get the number of victory points listed. On top of that, as you can see, the characters have victory points, but you don't get those automatically. You need to pay them to work one last time after that 5th round, and then you get the victory points. And so, for example, if I was able to pay this character one more time at the end of the game, boom, 5 victory points. And that's basically it. So you'd really have to be careful with where these things end up, all your resources, and start doing your math early so that when the game end approaches, you can satisfy everything that you need to satisfy. That should give you an idea of how the whole thing goes. There's a lot of these different goals. There's a lot of these demon workers, as I said, quite a stack of them. But overall, you should now have an idea of how it all works together. So let's go back up top, and let me tell you what I think of this worker placement game. All right, so that is Demon Worker. Let's talk about this. I'm going to start with thematic ties. Is the theme original? Is it well implemented? The theme is, yeah, it's original. It's wacky. It's kind of kooky. It's also very tongue-in-cheek. So it's not a dark game. It's not a game that takes that theme and it takes that theme and sort of makes light of it. It's a silly theme. The illustrations are silly. The whole thing's really a fairly light game. And the worker placement in it is fairly light, except for, as I said, some math at the end of the game that, does come into play. But overall, I think the theme is neat. It's bizarre, but quirky and charming at the same time, so it works for me. Aesthetics, the component quality, the artwork, does it all work together? I think it does. I think the artwork in this game is fantastic, actually. I love the different types of artwork that are in it, but it all works well together. And then as far as the component quality, it's good. Cards are great. Tokens are fine. They're good. Scoring track is nice and clear. That's no problem. For the most part, everything in it is well done and well put together, so it gets a thumbs up here from me. Replayability. Does it scale well? Are there new things to discover? On the new things to discover side, yeah, I would say so, especially because there's so many different workers. That's neat. But the game does not really scale well. For one thing, it only lists 3 to 4 players, and with 4, later in the game especially, when everyone has hired 6 workers, right? Or you've got, you've got so many workers that you're able to deploy. The places become so overwhelmed that it's hard to play effectively, and to still have it be just sort of a quick turn, put something out, I pay some stuff, and I get something. I have to sit there and do the math as to, okay, I'm going to need how much food to go there. Wow, that place is overrun. I can't go there. So I think it's best at 3 myself, and the only other option is 4. So it gets a big ding here, not because there's nothing new to discover, and I even hate to have to put this under replayability, really, because I think the replayability is fine. I think the scalability is not good, you know? Game length, is it interesting the whole time? Is it repetitive? I think it's interesting the whole time. 5 rounds is just the right amount. You still, I mean, to that feeling of like, oh, I want a couple more actions, right? And I want that in a worker placement game. I want to have that feeling of, oh, I can't do enough. That's a great feeling because everybody's feeling it, and then it's fair. But I think 5 rounds is great. The resource management is very tricky in it, and you never feel like you can quite do enough. Wraps up. Sometimes you've got to be careful with where you allocate your resources at the end of that play length. So it's very good. It's very good. Ease of play. Is it fiddly? Are there any extraneous rules? Is it fairly easy to teach? The locations are very straightforward. Where you get score from, that's easy. You score 3 things, right? So the things from which you can make your evil points, that's easy. And then the demon workers all have whatever symbology they have, and that's all easy. I thought they did a fantastic job with iconography in this game. It's very, very clear. They get big kudos from me for how well they did that. So ease of play is very nice. Lastly, tactics strategy. Does it feel lucky or does it feel balanced? I would say the game has, especially if you draft at the beginning and you already have played, you know which workers you like. I think it's got a nice amount of strategy there. You can pick a nice plan for yourself while still combining that with lots of tactics. That's my favorite kind of game. Games in which I have a plan, a nebulous plan, but a plan nonetheless, and then I have to react to what other people are doing. In this case, there's lots of that because folks will go where you were intending to go. Well, guess what? Now it costs you 2 more food if there's a single token there. There's 2 tokens there, 4 food. That's a lot in this game. So you have to maybe postpone that plan or that part of the plan while still being able to say, you know, if I play this demon first, every time I hire another one, it also gives me a bonus food and a bonus victory point. There's one kind of like that. I don't remember exactly what it is. So that one you want to hire early. And then as you are hiring the other ones, you are generating new resources. Some are great later in the game. Some are good if you're only going for one specific strategy, right? That's cool. I like that a lot. And it just works for me. As far as the luck, yeah, there's luck. You're drawing those goal cards off the top of that deck, but it's minimal and it's enough to keep the game interesting because it's thinky as it is. Like I said, and my only other sort of little ding against it is that the first, let's say, 3 rounds tend to feel very different from the last 2 rounds. At first, you're gathering stuff, you're hiring people, you're doing this and that, and then the last 2 rounds, everybody's sort of just thinking, okay, I need to make sure I get 3 more of these tokens because otherwise I cannot achieve this goal, but I have to pay these guys to send them out, so I'm going to need this much food to employ these guys. That it becomes thinky and mathy. That's not bad. I'm just letting you know that's the kind of game it is, while not seeming like it is. And in fact, at first it isn't. It'll become that as you're playing, because the resource management here is everything. So, overall, I think it's a great game. I was very pleasantly surprised by it. I think it is charming. I think it's well put together. The worker placement aspect is simple but clever. I love that there's a power out there and a power on my person, and those are both triggered when I employ them. It's just a neat game. It's my kind of worker placement, my kind of resource management. Not too many chains, not too many different options, but still punchy and interesting. Very much enjoy it. This one gets a strong seal of approval from me. If you find it, if it's your kind of thing, definitely give it a go. I think if you're a fan of worker placement and you are a fan of quirky themes like this, this is one you're going to enjoy. So there you go. That's Demon Worker. I'm Z Garcia. Thanks for checking this out with me.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com.